Hi guys!
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Welcome back to the channel.
It's DXA.
And today we are having a discussion on a topic that some of you may be familiar with, others may not. It is on how we chose our doula, or how to find a doula.
Yeah, finding a doula.
So in this video, we'll share some of the benefits to hiring a doula, the questions we asked to find our doula, and the resources that we also used in an effort to find a doula.
So what is a doula? I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, so a doula is essentially a support person during the birthing process for pregnant women. And actually, there are different types of doulas. There's doulas that support you during the birth, and then there are postpartum doulas. Some doulas, they do both. We looked on websites like Doula to find accredited doulas, and there's resources such as the Black Doula Association, where you can do more research to find out how doulas can be essential to supporting you during your birth. One of the important things to note about doulas is that having a doula can decrease the need for interventions and for C-sections, and they help create a positive birthing experience. So that's the purpose of a doula.
So are they essentially like a educated support personnel, or?
Yeah, I would definitely say that they are educated in the birthing process, and while they don't offer medical advice, they do have a lot of knowledge on the birthing process and can offer different types of guidance. I know for our doula, something that she says a lot was, let's ask the doctor also, let's ask the OBGYN, what do they think? Because they are not doctors. But they do support you.
Okay. Why we ultimately decided to hire a doula, well, it's our first child.
Yeah.
And we wanted that support. We are home away from home. And so I think that was super important to us to make sure that we had someone who has that level of experience, to be able to help guide us. We're trying to, gear up ourselves with as much knowledge as possible. Like, again, this is a big responsibility and we want to be great parents. And so we're trying to do the best to give ourselves the best opportunity to be great parents. So with knowledge. So I think that's why we decided to go find a doula and start to research and look into it.
I agree with all of that. Our parents, they're going to be there to support us postpartum. But I also think that during the birth, my mom doesn't remember anything from her birth, birthing a child, it's been so long for them. And then we obviously have friends and family too that we have leaned on to ask questions, but having someone that is going to be at the birth for us while Dwayne is supporting me.
Right.
This person's job is to support us to make decisions on the fly, to kind of guide us through this process, help calm him so he can support me. So I think that's really important to have someone there that can do that for us.
Absolutely. And I think another thing to add to that is the fact that, the plan that we want is an unmedicated natural
vaginal birth.
Right? And just understanding how, while there are doctors there, they have their level of expertise, and we have a great doctor, but having an advocate of someone who's also had that experience in understanding what childbirth is like, where we don't, and asking the right questions, saying the right things. Before I found out that you were pregnant, I didn't know half the stuff I knew about when it comes to childbirth and labor, and even a doula. So I think while I've learned a lot, it's also still important to know that having someone who may also know a little bit more and can say, hey, you should say this to your doctor.
So these are the actual steps now that we took to finding a doula. So first, we did some research. You did a lot of research too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it was finding someone who was certified was super important to us. So they have a whole doula association called Doula, yeah. I went on their website, and there are other associations and organizations out there that are credible. Like you mentioned, there's
The Black Doula Association.
yeah.
And I think doulas.net. We'll link them all below. And you can research, find your doulas in your area.
Right. And you might have doulas also who may not necessarily have the doula certification that's nationally accredited.
Yeah, but they may have like the years of experience.
And that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah. So I would suggest starting a little early in doing that research. When you do start interviewing doulas, you want to make sure that they have availability during your birth month. My baby is due in September. We started the research in like the second trimester to kind of ensure that whoever we were speaking to will be available around the time of our birth. So it's important to set those priorities, like what's important to you to look for in the doula, whether it's their certification, their years of experience, how comfortable you are with them. I think for us, it was also important that our doula was a Christian.
Faith-based.
Or faith-based.
Because they got doulas. Once you start getting into the whole research world, you start finding that there are doulas out there that believe in the universe. And
they believe in a lot of, there's different people in this world that believes in a lot of things.
Right.
And for us in this family, we believe in Jesus Christ. And that's what we wanted to center this birth around.
Yeah. And again, we're having somebody who is, going to be in the room with us. This is a sacred time.
This is a very intimate time.
Yeah.
So
having someone there who's there to support you.
That's not family.
Right. That whole aura and energy that is coming from the true main living source.
Amen. Once we developed what the criteria would be for someone who we wanted to be our doula, we set up interviews. And we had about 4 interviews, some were virtual, most were in person. It was like it was a long list of people that we went through. Some didn't have availability, some didn't have the credentials we were looking for. But when it came down to it, we settled on between 2 people and we interviewed them. We asked them a ton of questions. We'll put some of the questions we asked as well.
Yeah.
Just so you can get a feel for what we were looking for.
Absolutely. Some of the questions that I asked was obviously, what has your experience been? Things like how many, childbirths have you done, right? We interviewed some people when we first started it. They were like, I've done 5 or 10, or you hear I just started, and it's just like, okay, you just started. Nah. Yeah. We don't want to be the test subject here. I think another major question was just proximity, right?
Yes.
How far are you from where we are, where our hospital is located, right?
Yeah.
Because again, if you're paying for someone to be a support system,
at your birth,
you want to make sure
they can get there.
when Moy's water break or when she start, feeling contractions, I'm calling that doula. I'm calling the doula. I'm calling the doctor. But again, the idea is to labor as much as possible at home first before we go into the hospital. So, yeah, you want to make sure that they're like, I'm 20 minutes away. Not, I'm 2 hours away.
No. So overall, I really think it's important to just trust your instincts. Trust if you're asking this person these questions, do you feel comfortable with them? Do they make you feel comfortable? Are they answering your questions? Does it feel rushed? That type of thing.
Yeah.
What did they say? First impressions.
It can say a lot.
It says a lot.
It definitely can say a lot. And if they come with ready and they're professional, you'll know.
Yeah.
Just they're on time or they're communicate. I think communication is the most important thing. One of those things where if they're communicating with you well, that's a good sign because you need clear communication. With this whole overall experience.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately leads down to our final point is how we chose our doula. Want to speak a little bit about that, how you found the doula, just kind of what really kind of driven you to kind of choose who we are. Oh, baby's kicking, baby. Oh, wow. Hey, baby girl, how you doing?
She loved that right side boy. Okay, yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, there was a list from the birthing center that we visited. She was on that list. And not to get into much of the weeds, but I looked her up. her Instagram, professional. Her website, professional. She offered photography services. Like, all her services were listed. Her certification was on her website. Like, there was no missing information. All that was really left to do was to interview her or to meet her. And I feel like we interviewed her here at our house. We felt really comfortable with her. I think, overall, she had all of the prerequisites, I guess. Like, she had the experience and all of that. But when she came, she really did she made me feel comfortable, because we were following each other on social media for a while before we even interviewed. So she definitely made me feel comfortable to speak with her, to ask her questions before she was even like a candidate to be our doula. So yeah, I think that's how we came down to, okay, it's her. Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. Definitely felt super comfortable, and again, that's one of the main things that it boils down to is, level of expertise and experience and comfortability. And so I'm super grateful that we have that support, and excited, that I have someone who, while I'm supporting you, I know she will be supporting the both of us, and can help guide me even to say, hey, this is what you should do in this situation, to help support more.
Absolutely. We ain't never had a baby before, y'all.
Nah.
So
right. Yeah. So
this is our first pregnancy, our
first
child. And I've mentioned it. I've mentioned it to our OB and to our doula. And Dwayne and I have talked about this. Like, we are very aware of the Black maternal mortality rate in this country. And just how having someone to advocate, just someone in the room that knows a little bit more than you, or just who, I can't speak, like if I'm trying to birth a baby, and someone to listen to me. Obviously my husband is my number one advocate, but having an additional personnel, I think that's what was important to me. It's like, okay, he's gonna advocate for me. I also need somebody else to be advocating for me, because if I say something feels off or something is, I need them to listen. I need the professionals in the room to listen. And oftentimes Black women are not listened to.
Absolutely. I agree.
In the birthing process.
If you stayed all the way through this video,
if you learned something,
appreciate y'all.
So if you found value in this content, in this video, leave us a comment below. Share your experience if you're looking for a doula. As we're preparing to meet our little girl, we're really excited to take you guys along on this journey, and to share just how much we are learning with you guys. So stay blessed, y'all.